Hello and welcome to the second Forefront webinar from Dementia Researcher and the Alzheimer's Society. I'm Adam Smith, I'm the Programme Director from University College London, and it's my pleasure to be chairing today's session. This is a recording of a live session that was originally streamed on the 24th of September, and for the purposes of catch-up, we've broken it down into two separate films. So, now I'd like to introduce Lucia Minitu from the University of Stirling. Lucia will give a brief introduction on design for dementia care homes and discuss the importance of co-designing with and for people living with dementia, highlighting how design can reduce agitation, anxiety, confusion, and depression, as well as stimulate happiness and enhance well-being. Thank you very much for joining us today, Lucia, and I'd like to invite you to present your work now.
As Adam has mentioned, I'm a PhD student at the University of Stirling, researching in the area of design for dementia. I'm starting my official research journey this year thanks to the Alzheimer's Society that supports my research. I have been in the last years working as a designer for dementia care homes, and I'm also a freelance theatre designer. I will start with a brief introduction about design for dementia care homes and discuss the importance of designing together with people living with dementia. I will also present some of my design work for a dementia daycare center and talk about my research related to the capacity of the built environment to generate storytelling, thus aiding communication and fostering pleasure. As you may already know, dementia is a major cause of disability and dependency among older people worldwide. In the UK, there are almost 1 million people living with dementia, with a large percentage living in care homes. Prior to the 80s, the care for people with dementia was mainly focused on the medical treatment of the symptoms, and the approach for the care home's built environment was to a large extent institutionalized, an environment that aimed to provide safety, hence eliminated danger through emptiness. A shift that drives the knowledge that we have today on approaches for dementia, design for dementia, owes much to the pioneers who began to change the pharmaceutical treatment approach to one focused on wellness and engagement. Some of the elements that constitute the base for this change derive from the field of psychological and social sciences in the 70s, when Harold Persansky and colleagues at the City University of New York started exploring a new field called environmental psychology and argued that the physical environment has a direct influence on people and the way they behave at work, in healthcare, at leisure, and at home. This idea kicked off a new beginning in the field of design for dementia, allowing for innovative buildings, experimentation, and novel research approaches. Some researchers and designers adopted Adonovsky's concept of salutogenesis. This concept moved design goals from trying to reduce the pathogenic aspects of design, and specifically elements that cause difficulties, to trying to enhance the salutogenic aspects of design, focusing on those elements that promote good health. According to Adonovsky, the essential base for a person to experience good health is a sense of coherence. When a person experiences life as meaningful, he or she could feel a strong sense of coherence and help the body mobilize resources to cope with stressors, manage tension successfully, and move on the health-disease continuum. An example of a meaningful, innovative environment for dementia provides the Butterfly Project. This low-expense program is based on the thinking and research by Dr. David Sherd. It focuses on adjusting the care environment from one that alienates and creates a sense of being lost to one that stimulates familiarity and creates a sense of place, purpose, and fulfillment. Launched in the UK over 2 decades ago by Dementia Care Matters, the Butterfly movement aims to be the antidote to the personal and unstimulate hospital-like environments of many care homes' dementia units. The approach focuses on creating a truly person-centered experience where feelings matter most. The model values emotional intelligence, domestic household living, and the core belief that everyone living with dementia can be reached as a whole person. Another very important example of care home design is the Hogeweg Dementia Village in the Netherlands, founded by Eloy van Gogh. In Hogeweg, people live in a village and are able to choose a house to live in according to their cultural backgrounds. In the house, there is relevant decoration and choice of food. People are free to go out socializing, shopping, visiting cinemas, restaurants, and even mix with the local community. Many countries are now copying part of this project. There are more examples of innovative care home design all over the world, but there is not a large knowledge base on design for dementia. We still haven't done enough evaluation so to know how certain design elements affect the health of the residents. However, a tool to facilitate discussion is a set of design principles that was introduced by Bennett Fleming in 1987 and last refined by the same authors in 2014. The principles take in consideration dementia symptoms such as apathy, depression, agitation, mobility problems, disorientation, and loss of memory. So the principles are: reduce risks. Potential risks such as steps must be removed. All safety features must be subtle because elements like fences or locked doors can lead to frustration, agitation, and anger or apathy and depression. Provide a human scale. A person should not be intimidated by the size of the surroundings or controlled with a multitude of interactions and choices. The scale should encourage a sense of well-being and enhance the competence of the person. Allow people to see and be seen. It is particularly important for people living with dementia to be able to recognize where they are, where they have come from, and where they can go. When a person can see key places such as a lounge room, dining room, their bedroom, kitchen, or an outdoor area, they are more able to make choices and see where they want to go. Reduce unhelpful stimulation. The environment should be designed to minimize exposure to stimulus that is not specifically helpful to the resident, such as unnecessary noises and the sight of signs, posters, spaces, and clutter that are of no use. Optimize helpful stimulation. To see, hear, and smell things that give residents cues about where they are and what they can do can help minimize their confusion and uncertainty. Support movement and engagement. By provide, for example, a pathway free of obstacles that guides people past points of interest and opportunities to engage in activities of social interaction. Create a familiar place. The involvement of the person living with dementia in personalizing the environment with a familiar object should be encouraged. Provide opportunities to be alone or with others. This requires a variety of spaces in the unit, some for quiet conversation and some for larger groups, as well as spaces where people can be by themselves. Link to the community. Stigma remains a problem for people living with dementia. If the unit is designed to blend with the surrounding community and not stand out as a special unit, stigma is reduced. It's also reduced when a bridge is included to connect the unit and the community, such as a shop or a restaurant that is used by both the community and people living with dementia. This could This could also be succeeded by providing mixed generation living opportunities, like Humanitas Deventer in the Netherlands, an independent living home for seniors and students, or by creating events like the Imagination Café that brings people living with dementia and without dementia together. The 10th principle is design in response to vision for way of life. The design is informed by a certain vision for way of living, such as arts guided or outdoors orientated, and accordingly adopts relevant elements, such as a room dedicated to painting or a large beautiful garden. When the building embodies the philosophy of care, it constantly reminds the staff of the values and practices that are required while providing them with the tools they need to do their job. In order to define the goals of design, Bennett, Fleming, and Zissel have cross-examined these 10 design principles with the salutogenic guidelines and additionally have run parallels with the context of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. These rights, in short, are respect for inherent dignity, individual autonomy, including the freedom to make one's own choices, non-discrimination, full and active participation and inclusion in society, respect for difference and acceptance of persons with disabilities as part of human diversity and humanity, equality of opportunity, accessibility, and equality between men and women. The proposition by Bennett, Fleming, and Zissel is that the purpose of supporting people living with dementia is best driven by aiming at maximizing their well-being and dignity. It is not about their physical health, keeping them safe and secure, making sure that they are clean and well-fed, but supporting them to lead as full a life as it's possible under their circumstances. Good design can contribute to the establishment of the salutogenic conditions necessary for well-being and to the civil and legal activities that support their dignity. I use the above design principles and approach in my practice, and it is the base of my research. But additionally, I'm exploring a new concept that is narrative design for dementia. I adopt some scenographic storytelling principles in care home design, exploring the way space can act as an aid for those experiencing loss of memory and difficulty to construct stories from the past or in the moment experiences. Control research on the benefits of a free-form storytelling intervention for persons with dementia living in care homes have shown enhanced pleasure, more frequent social interactions and communication, and more positive staff use on residents with dementia. The concept of narrative design for dementia is taken from the concept of narrative design in theater, also known as scenography. This refers to the configuration of space and its contents to reinforce the narrative of a story being told. I had the opportunity to start exploring the concept of narrative design when, as an artist in residence at the University of West London, took on the task to design a dementia daycare centre in New Malden. The space was 2 newly bought flats located next to the residential care home, destined to function as a dementia daycare, hosting visitors, and also provide an additional space for the care home residents to go for outings or a tea occasion. So that's how the space was before. I was able to explore some initial ideas together with the end users. We worked towards the aim to produce not only a functional space, but a playful environment to create harmony, offer pleasure, and enhance well-being. In close collaboration with the care home managers, I discussed design options and took design decisions when circumstances allowed it in collaboration with the residents. As part of the design process with the drama therapist, we facilitated workshops using storytelling methods as tools of co-designing with people who were at middle stages of dementia. Storytelling methods proved useful when facilitated by collection of samples and objects, as well as smells and textures, to help define the feeling of the space and to make different space configurations where our stories were unfolded. We proceeded to the making of a physical model for the final design, so that's a scaled model, and mapped the space according to its use. So there is a tea room, the reminiscence corner, the pink and the blue room that are the activities rooms, the cinema room, the multifunctional room, and a large garden. I will now introduce you to the space itself. We use themed suitcases as a means to encourage movement in the space for visitors with no restricted mobility. The suitcases contain different memory kits such as traveling, drawing, baby dressing, typewriting, and beauty care. We decided to offer the possibility of exploring textures, writing, and personalized reminiscence elements on the wall. The walls work both as a mapping tool for helping orientation in the space, in the flats, and as a means of encouraging storytelling. The photos are placed on a special magnetic wall so visitors can easily remove and add their photos if they choose to narrate some of their life stories. We have ordered this sculpture that accommodates a range of abstract wooden pieces created by sculptor Tabitha Andrews. The pieces could be discovered in the cupboard and offer a tactile experience. One of the rooms is dedicated to the 50s Lions tea room, is equipped with a specially edited sound, and has multiple uses, having special tea occasions, taking lunch, or playing board games. This wallboard is constructing a sensory flexible art piece in 4 parts inspired from dance movements. The visitors are encouraged to create their parts and replace the ones on the wall. The table surfaces are enhanced with specially designed wood surfaces. The surface offers a touch-friendly area for exploration for people with restricted mobility. It is sculptured with different sizes and shapes of wooden cavities, so to provide a combination of paths for the figures, as well as pathways to move objects within. Experimenting with the idea of opening cupboards and other furniture to discover mini magic worlds. A poem runs along the wall to encourage movement and the exploration of the flats. Motivated by the need to offer a choice of activities and due to lack of space, the design of 2 large double-sided cupboards, which you can see on the bottom right slide, that can open, create 4 different spaces in the same room: a hair salon, an old grocery shop, a working garden shed, and a snoozle and quiet room. The garden greenhouse is dedicated to one of the residents, Veronica, who used to be the secretary of the care home and is a lover of plants. Veronica had helped in the creation of the old garden when she worked for the Devonshire Dementia Care Home, and now she has worked with the design team to consult on the plantation of the garden and the greenhouse. The garden is offering a place to walk with quiet corners for reflection. It offers both a garden and a street experience. The phone box accommodates an interactive phone, letters can be posted in the post box, and vegetables are grown and harvested by the day visitors. Currently, as part of my PhD research, I'm further exploring the potential of the built environment to generate storytelling. I plan to evaluate this daycare center and other spaces with a focus on design that adopts narrative elements. Based on this evidence and in collaboration with people living with dementia, my research project aims to create designs for spaces that could provide people experiencing dementia with opportunities of individual or collaborative engagement and develop staff-resident interaction. Narrative design is aiming to promote creativity and enhance the residents' sense of self-esteem, as well as improve the perception of the value of the individual to staff members and the community. I have recently been participating at a USCL research program looking into co-designing, creating tools for co-designing with people with dementia. And I would like to note that we urgently need to create and evaluate tools that would allow a better level of communication between designers and people who live with dementia, so to allow them to fully participate in the design process. I believe that it is their right to decide on the environment they live in. My experience is that designers are gaining precious knowledge when involving the end users in the design process. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Lucia for kindly agreeing to share with us today. What fantastic work, and care homes are so important, and of course with the recent pandemic has put a big spotlight on care homes. So you can only imagine that if you're having to spend a considerable amount of time there and can't go out, having design be at the heart of making that a great environment is really important all the time, not just of course during a pandemic. You can find out more about Lucia and her work on our website and access her biography as well at dementiaresearcher.nihr.ac.uk. And thank you very much to the Alzheimer's Society for funding her work and so many other great projects across the country. Do keep up to date with their work at alzheimers.org.uk. Our webinars come on the last Friday of every month, of course, so please do join us on the 29th of October 2021 to hear more great talks.